Okay, so today I got a quick little video for you guys where I'm going to be showing off the power of shell scripts, dmenu, and basically just doing things from the terminal in general. The terminal is far more efficient because keystrokes can be recorded and commands can be turned into shell scripts which can be piped into dmenu, and I'm going to show you all of that with the example of video display. So let's get into it. Okay, so basically sometimes I have two monitors, sometimes I don't. And when I have two monitors connected, I actually have to manually set it through xrandar. So dp-1-2 is the second monitor, and I'm going to set it to the right of the edp-1, which is the name of my main screen, the laptop screen. So how do I do that from the command line? Okay, so first you can do xrandar, and this is going to list basically all the information regarding whatever is connected and whatnot. And over here you'll see things like connected. I'll actually go into visual mode on Alacrity and show you because mouse is cancer. So you'll see connected here, or let's just pattern search for it. So you can see connected over here, right? You can see connected, HDMI 1 is disconnected, what is connected and what not. You get the fucking point. Let's go back into insert here. So in order to do that from the command line, you actually have to use xrandar output. Now you can see the auto suggestion there. You can use tab to autocomplete in ZSH. The name of what's connected. So in this case, it's dp-1-2. And then you specify the option. If you just put the two flags and you type the right of, tab is going to autocomplete it. Then you go E and then you press tab and then it's going to finish itself. So if you run that command, the monitor dp-1-2 is going to be mapped to the right of edp-1. Right of basically means the mouse, you can see, is going to come in from that side, if you know what I mean. All right, so that's the command to do it. And this xrandar, as I showed earlier, can actually give you all of the information. So now how do we automate this, right? How do I make it so I don't have to type in that command and then see what's connected and then type in the other command, this command? How do I make it so I don't have to type that all the time? Okay, let's make a shell script. So first, if you know anything about computers or Unix, you'll know what grep is. Point is, you know what grep is, man grep, right? Everybody knows what this command is and it's actually very useful here. So if I do xrandar, I pipe that into grep, -I, you can see some more options there. I'll explain what they are later. For now, let's just do connected. Okay, and I run this. You'll see that I get the two lines where it just shows what is connected. Okay, so from this, I want to extract just this part. This is my main laptop monitor, so I don't need to worry about this. I just want to extract this. Or at least, maybe if there was a way I could get a menu of all of this. Wow, imagine that. Which is, that's a spoiler to the next intro. You can see that over here. You see on top, you can see a menu of both of them. So I can just select which one I want. I'll show you how to do that later. But for now, let's just worry about extracting the display names, or at least the plugin points, whatever it's really called. I'm not really sure. So to do that, if you saw earlier, you can do xrandar grep-I connected. And then you pipe it into this other program called cut. And what this basically does is the -F1 takes the first field and the -D is a delimiter specifier. Delimiters are basically, I hope I'm saying that right. Delimiters are basically what separates these things. So over here, you can see it's a space. So this is the first field. This is the second field. This is the third field. Okay, you get the point. It's separated by white spaces. That's why we specified over here. If I run this, look at that. I get two outputs line by line. And now again, like I said, I can turn this into a shell script. So what is a shell script? A shell script is basically a bunch of commands pre-recorded. So you can see the shell script I've written here. Now there are two different ways of doing this. First, you can use grep and then you can use cut. Or you can use awk. Now, awk, you can see, is going to pattern, the syntax is different. The reason this might be better is because there are less pipelines. So first you have to pipe it into grep, then you have to pipe it into cut, then you pipe it into dmenu. But this might be more efficient. Now, I actually tested this running the time command, as you can see here. And what this basically does is, this runs the command with grep 1,000 times, or in this case 50 times, and it tells you how long it takes. This takes about 14 seconds. I'm not going to run it. It's going to take a while in this video. Again, that's how you can find out which of these will be faster. You basically take the command and you put the output of that into /dev/null, which means it's not going to be printed on the terminal. And then you put it in a for loop, and then you run it about 1,000 times, and then you wrap that in the time function. But maybe don't run it 1,000 times because it might take way too long. So let me explain what this does. There are two different ways of doing the same thing. What this does is it puts it into awk, like I said before, pattern searches for space connected, the space is important, and then it just prints out the first field, and then it pipes it into dmenu. Now, I hope you know something about dmenu. Basically, what dmenu does is, so you can see here, echo, line 1, line 2. Now, if I pipe this into dmenu, you actually get on top, you get options like this, which is actually very useful. If I select it, it's going to print, or I should say output that. And you can see why that's very useful over here. So what this essentially does is, this takes xrandr, pattern switches were connected and prints the first field. You know what that does. That's just going to output the dp-1 whatever part. That's just going to output this. And what it does is it puts it into dmenu. So, okay, let me do it again. I'll put dmenu this time. Now I have a menu of everything that is connected, including my main monitor. So let's say I take my laptop and I plug an HDMI cable into my laptop. Now I run this shell script and it's going to show me everything that's connected, including my main monitor. So I just do DP. Oh, it's case sensitive. I should have probably put a -I flag and then I assign this to a variable called display number. And then after that, I want to have the ability to also choose options. So let's say, okay, display orientation. All right. I choose a second display. Now I have the right off and the left off. Or I can even add a third option called mirror or same as. I don't know what the option necessarily is. But the point is, again, this is the same thing we did earlier. I showed you how to do this earlier. You do echo -E. -E is a flag that allows you to have things like /n as a new line. And then you pipe all of that into dmenu, and that's going to output as strings. So let's see. Okay, let's select one. So it's going to output like this in dmenu. And you can choose one and it'll actually select it. Then okay, this is not necessary. Let's get rid of that. And then I do xrandr, output the name, or at least the ID, if you will, of one display, and then the ID of the other display, and I just put EDP1 right here because that's the name of my main laptop screen. Now, if I wanted to add an option, such as map to, okay, let me zoom in so you blind motherfuckers can see. Yeah, okay, so same as. So let's actually put that output in here. So I do /n -- same as, and okay, now if I do that again, I select part 2. Okay, look, I have a third option now. So if I select that and I actually pressed enter, what would happen is these two displays I have right now would mirror each other. Or at least the bigger display would mirror my laptop screen display, which I don't want to do right now. So the point is, this is why shell scripting and things like dmenu is so powerful. And what I did is I actually took this shell script and I put it into another shell script I have here, which I call input scripts. And I have this binded to Alt-S. So every time I press Alt-S on my computer, I literally get a menu of all of my shell scripts. So you can see man over there. If let's say I search up grep, it outputs it in PDF format very nicely. Q to quit that. Zathura is the best PDF viewer. So this is why the terminal is always better or easier than using some kind of GUI settings menu. If you were on a desktop environment, what you would have to do, let's say GNOME or fucking whatever, like even Windows, you'd have to use your mouse, you have to click on the big ass Windows thing at the bottom, open up a settings menu, and then you have to scroll, or maybe you click and then you type for the setting you want, and then it's going to open up, and then you got to click like some tick or something. But over here, with shell scripts and the terminal, I learned how to do it from the terminal, right? Which is basically xrandr, output, yada, yada, this is the command, right? And then I took that command and then I basically generalized it into a script. I didn't just automate it, I generalized it. So now, if I plug something in with my HDMI monitor to a different plug, instead of plugging into my laptop, I plug it in through an adapter, then it's still going to work the same. It's just going to show different IDs. So this is DP-1-2. I actually have an adapter connected here, which gives me more HDMI plugs. I do have an HDMI plug on my computer. I'm not a Mac fag. Whatever. So yes, this is why the terminal is always more powerful. Always do things from the terminal if you can. It's not a hipster thing that we just want to make things difficult for ourselves. Apple people are hipsters who want to make things difficult for themselves. Okay, this is so much easier to do. And now when I move to a different laptop, I can just copy all of these scripts. I can copy my DWM. I can copy whatever config files, vim config, whatever the fuck, and I will have the same setup in about, I think everything put together, DWM and all that put together, will honestly be less than a gigabyte. I think most dot files are actually less than a gigabyte altogether. So that's going to take less than 20 seconds or even 10 seconds to copy everything. So within less than 10 seconds, I have an entire computer set up. All I have to do is compile DWM and done. No problem. So this is why the terminal is always better. Learn to use these fucking commands. They're not that hard. And I got a special surprise for you. Okay, let's just use Google because that's the normie browser. You have this fucking ChatGPT thing, okay? Ridiculous, very intelligent, very useful, and it just makes everything so much easier. You can use ChatGPT. ChatGPT basically replaces every Linux forum or every Linux post. You don't even need to go to forums anymore. That's how easy it has become. So yes, please use the terminal. Stop being a GUI cuck. Okay, become a terminal hipster instead. or quote-unquote hipster, because this is actually way easier than using any fucking GUI. But whatever. Alright, thank you for watching. Dab on the GUI cocks.